Hey, friends, this is Aaron Summers, and welcome to the Church Brain Podcast. Each week, we help churches and leaders think clearly through seasons of stress and transition. And this week, in the leadership briefing, we talked about the myth of the perfect pastor and how churches can often create unhealthy and unrealistic expectations for their candidates. So today, I want to help you evaluate candidates maybe a little more clearly, look at a couple of things maybe we haven't looked at before, so that we don't confuse hope and fantasy in a way that's not helpful for you. So now, to be fair, most churches are not intentionally seeking perfection in their next pastor, but many churches unknowingly build a profile that nobody can really fill, no real person could ever fulfill. And when that happens, strong candidates get overlooked, unhealthy expectations get placed on their next pastor. So let me just ask a simple question. Are you looking for a pastor, or are you looking for someone to undo years of unresolved church problems? Now, see, those are two different things, and that usually quiets the room pretty quickly. You see, many churches are asking a future pastor to fix things that they've not been willing to address themselves. So let's talk through a few basic moves that you and your committee can do. So first of all, as a committee, write down every expectation you have. Don't qualify them, don't defend them, don't debate them. Just get your committee in a room, write down everything they expect from the next pastor. Everything: preaching, leadership, pastoral care, administration, evangelism, counseling, staff development, vision casting, conflict management, all of these things. What this is going to reveal is that we're asking one person to do the work of an entire team of people, and that's not sustainable. So then we have to evaluate through the right lens. So this is where I try to help committees understand their candidate in three basic categories. You have character, you have competency, and you have charisma. Now, see, character asks, who is this person when nobody's watching? And really, we talk about 1 Timothy 3 and Titus 1, and those matter deeply. And those are qualities and characteristics that Paul writes and says that this is what a pastor should have, and this is who he should be. He should have integrity and humility and family leadership, self-control, a good reputation, and spiritual maturity. Really, this needs to carry the most weight, but we often don't know how to get at understanding those things. Well, the second area would be the area of competency. Can this person actually lead? Is he competent to lead in your particular context? You know, can they preach? Can they lead staff? Can they handle administration? What's their decision-making process? How do they handle conflict among the staff or among ministries? Are they able to navigate the current season that your church is in? You see, a church of 40 and a church of 400 have very different competency needs for their church. Well, then you've got the area of charisma, and this is just a personality thing. This is a personality pull. You get drawn into this individual. See, some leaders naturally will command a room. They communicate well. They just have this draw of people to themselves, and people are drawn to them very quickly. See, here's the problem though. Churches were often giving more weight to charisma because it's the immediately visible thing. And that's where committees get into trouble. Oh, he's such a great preacher. Does he have character? Is he competent? I mean, there are times that they can be a tremendous speaker, but don't know how to do anything else. And if we prioritize charisma, then what happens is we tend to evaluate competency and we assume character. And that creates pain that's avoidable. You don't have to do that. But the healthy committees are really going to reverse that. Character becomes the primary driver, competency and skill is secondary, and charisma, while important, will be kind of the last thing they look at, because in the long run, you want character. You want a person of character more than anything else. You may not know it, but you do. So once we've evaluated through the right lens, then we go to the next move. And this is move 3. Define your year 1 success. Many churches want 5 years of progress in the next 12 months. How are you, pastor? How are you going to solve this issue? How are you going to solve the young adult problem? How are you going to solve the leadership vacuum that we have? How are you going to solve the silos that have taken 35 years to build? How are you going to do that? And this, again, creates this unrealistic pressure on the right now kind of scale. What we need to be asking of ourselves as we begin to think through what would first year successes look like, what does faithfulness look like in year 1? If your pastor is faithful, he has the character, the competency, the charisma, not all at the highest levels, but what does faithfulness look like in year 1 at your church? Is it stability? Is it trust building? Is it staff alignment? Or is it slow and steady growth? Be realistic. You see, going back to the character, competency, charisma, you can't have all of those at the highest levels. That's the goat of pastors. And there just aren't those. Those are the unicorns. Those maybe 1 in a million have high in all of those areas. So if you have to choose, and you do, then choose high character. Why? I can't teach character. You can't teach character. They either have it or they don't. I can teach skill. We can teach administrative skills. We can teach social skills. We can teach preaching skills. Now, charisma, that's also one that's kind of, they either have it or they don't. And you don't want somebody that has 0 charisma, but we need to be careful that we're not drawn to charisma and we assume character. Go for character, then look at middle ground on competencies and middle ground on charisma. You know, maybe he's not the most charismatic person, but he does love his people and he does have adequate social skills. I mean, we just need to be realistic about these kinds of things. And then we need to ask and we need to own what belongs to the church. Now, see, this could be a really hard conversation because it centers around this. What problems are we expecting the next pastor to solve that actually belong to us to solve as the church? Are there culture issues? That's not his to solve. That's yours to solve. Volunteer shortages? That's not his to solve. He may come lead and guide and direct and manage some things, but you have to step up in volunteer roles. Are there unhealthy conflict patterns that you've just set aside, ignored, brushed under, swept under the carpet, and now you expect him to magically come in and fix? What belongs to the church? We have to own those things. A new pastor can help lead through the issues, but they can't fix what a church refuses to own. Are you evaluating pastors through biblical clarity, or are you being pulled by personality and unrealistic expectations? Your church, really, your church doesn't need a perfect pastor. They need a faithful pastor. And healthy churches create environments where faithful leaders can thrive. Well, I appreciate you spending a few moments with me today. If this episode helped you think more clearly through the pastoral search, maybe share that with another committee member, or maybe you know of another church that's seeking a pastor. Maybe this would be helpful for them. Make sure you subscribe to the Church Brain and receive the weekly briefings and the podcast directly into your email box. Remember, healthy expectations create healthier transitions. Have a great day.